abused wife in the church, I was often told that this was my calling. I was called to share in the sufferings of Christ. This was God's will for me. I was called. Now, if I was called to be a missionary, nobody would try to talk me out of that. If I said I was called to become a minister, nobody in more liberal churches would try to talk me out of that. If I said I felt called to be a physician or a nurse, nobody would try to talk me out of that, because nobody wants to go against the will of God. But if I'm in an abusive situation, I never really felt like I was called to be abused, but I did have people tell me that this was my calling, to share in the sufferings of Christ. Now, what this does is it sets up this really interesting psychological thing, because if somebody tells me this is my calling, well, they cannot interfere with the plan of God. Therefore, they're not going to do anything to help me. Even though there are lots of passages that talk about helping the oppressed, delivering the oppressed from the oppressor. Countless passages that talk about that. But because they've decided that this is my calling, oh no, nobody's going to help me now. The other thing about that is, if I were called to be a missionary, I might get somebody to even donate some money to my cause. But since I'm an abused wife and my calling is to suffer, I never once had anybody in ministry offer me money to help me with my calling. So really, when people in ministry or other churchgoers tell you that you're called to share in the sufferings of Christ, what they're really saying is, I'm not going to help you. This is Becky Kameen with HelpToHealNow.org. I've been there. We can fix this together.